Now, here's a topic that we just really need to talk about because how do we get from passion to friends living together? How do we get there? Is that what this life is about? Is that how it's supposed to be?
This is your space to grow, glow, grieve, and get real. Welcome to the mic. Welcome to the movement. Welcome to You Can't Handle the Truth.
Before we go any further, drop me your comments, subscribe, like the video, so you can be notified the next time that I upload one. But while you're doing that, think about it. Think about it. Like we're hitting midlife, right? Some of you have been together for 20 years, maybe 10. And when you got together, it was hot, heavy, passionate. And then you became friends. Or did you become friends before you got married? Our truth teller here is experiencing this. I'm gonna read to you what she says. I started reading a little bit and I was like, I have to come talk to you because I'm sure there are many of you that might be feeling this same way in your relationship. And it's like, what do you do about it? Think about that. Drop me a comment. If you want, share your story in the comments. And let's go. Let's see what our truth teller has to say about this. Have you experienced a previously passionate marriage moving to a more friends, living together type of thing? I'm seeing my marriage and a lot of marriages around me move from the I can't keep we can't keep our hands off each other to looking more like best friends or living together, still loving but less affectionate. Is this just what we have is this just what we have to look forward to as we move into our 40s? What do you think about that? I think a lot happens after 20 years of marriage. I think, and I'm not gonna go too deep into my thoughts right now because I want to read what some of our other truth tellers had to say. But I think that the relationship evolves, and not just that, we evolve. Life circumstances evolve. We have children. We're tired. We're working hard. We work long hours. We're running the kids to practice, to here, to there, making sure they all have what they need if you have children. And then have other life events. Parents have issues. You're taking care of your parents, maybe. You're taking care of your own health. You're having health issues. And your health issues don't always permit for hot and heavy passion, right? But I don't know. I mean, that I guess it depends on what you think hot, heavy passion is. Is passion just the X? I have to be careful, or else they'll flag my video for certain words, but you know what I mean. Is it just that type of intimacy, or is there also, it sounds like maybe there's also lacking like the other intimacy, which is like all the foreplay things that you do before you get hot and heavy and passionate, like joking with each other, touching each other, um, maybe hugging each other at night. I know sometimes over time, you might start off your relationship where you just want to hug and cuddle every night, right? But after some time, you just need your space in the bed also. And that doesn't mean, I don't think that means like there's not passion there. I just think that sometimes we just need our space. Like, you're 40, ladies, you're 40s going perimenopausal, like hot flashes. I can't be hugging up on anybody when I feel like I'm in a hot sauna, right? Like it's not possible. So yeah, like certain things change. And it's not because I don't think it's because the love is not there, because she says, hey, the love is there, but she sees that the relationships are evolving this way. And um, she's wondering, like, hey, is this what she has to look forward to? But here's the thing, like, they're friends, right? Like, they are friends. Like, isn't that beautiful that you have a lifelong friends? I guess it's all in the perspective, right? It's how you look at it. And then how do you build on that from where you are? Anyway, I'll say more later, but I want to see what some of our other truth tellers have to say to her. Someone says, not here. I mean, we had our roller coasters and years of approaching dead bedroom as we manage young kids, career stress, but my late 40s entering perimenopause and his 50s dealing with his mom living with us, her entry into hospice, her death. It's been pretty wild. More variable, more imaginative, yes, less frequent, but very good. More thoughtful about the things that are really important, hitting some really tasteful and thoughtful things for gifts, for example. I don't really do jewelry. I dress up much, and I'm a bit environmentally motivated against buying new things. I'm a difficult target, so he hit a bunch of garbage sales and found someone selling a massive box of like 40 different scarves at different material colors. Some neon clubhouse things, some crepe silks I could wear to an opera. It was a very sweet and thoughtful gift. I think we do move to being a little bit more thoughtful with each other, right? Because we get to know what we like. And as you get older, all those new things that you used to get, like, do you really, you start to find, right? You hit your 50s and 60s, yeah, having new things sometimes is nice, but we just find like, especially if you're environmentally friendly, you don't, I don't need 10 new purses. I don't need 50 new shirts. I don't need 20 new dresses. It's just you're I mean, your focus shifts to so many other things. You're starting to think about retirement. Things are shifting in your life. No one talks to us about this when we get married, right? They tell you for better or for worse. It's for better or for worse, right? And it's the evolution that happens when you can be with someone when you're with someone for a very, very long time. There's an evolution of what your relationship looks like. There's an evolution of what passion looks like. There's an evolution of that love that you have, I think. But anyway, so um she continues to say, in my closest friend groups, I am also seeing an evolution. We are shifting towards caring for our parents. We are sometimes facing cancer ourselves or other serious health issues in our own cohort. And generally the attitude has been passion and sex is life affirming and I need you right now. Oh. Yeah, I mean it is passion and I said the word. Oh well. Sex is life affirming. And so I think with our busy schedules, with illnesses, we just have to sometimes make the time for it. We're not always in the mood. There's so much going on. Some people like to make a date night for that, and some people don't. Some people like to be a little bit more spontaneous, but you keep that on your mind in the back burner. Do you decide, is it going to be once a week, twice a week, three times a week? Some people hate being on a schedule. Like no one wants to think. It's almost like when you're on IVF, right? Like you're on the schedule and then it becomes more of a chore than not. So this is going to depend. This shift is going to take two to tango and two to decide how it's going to work. And you can experiment with some things, try some things, offer up some ideas, see um, how your partner reacts to it. Is it too much for them? Are they, that feels weird. And so we have to be mindful and respectful as we navigate that. And it's really ironic because then it starts to feel like, well, we didn't have to think about it when we were 20. Well, when you were 20, you didn't have all the responsibilities that you have. You hadn't worked a job for 30 years and now reaching retirement and trying to figure out what you're going to do for retirement. You didn't have your own illnesses that you were dealing with, most likely, you know, and you didn't have parents that are aging that you were dealing with. And now, even, parents are dealing with children who are still trying to figure out how to take care of themselves. And so you are still managing that. There's a lot, like, you become, like, being a parent, I think, and being married, you become a life manager. You become a manager of your life with your partner, and a manager of the lives of the people around you until they can take care of themselves. But then you have parents that are returning that need you to help manage their life because they can no longer take care of themselves. So it's kind of a conundrum, right? Like because you are you're thinking in your mind, like your mind is it's like at night, right? You get in bed and you're thinking, "Oh, hot and heavy would be nice." And your body's like, "Look, I'm done. I don't have the energy for this," right? Some nights. And so, yeah, like I've had a long day. I'm exhausted and all I want to do is just sleep right now. So, I think it's fun to find fun ways to interact with each other. Make sure that you are that there's the touch is there because touch is important in connections. So even if it doesn't lead to that to that thing every night, like but you have the touch, you have the love. You say I love you. You remember like you're um, very mindful, right? You have to be mindful of these things. You do check-ins to see how the other person, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How was your day? Um, how are we doing? Do we need a vacation? Do we, all these things that, um, all these things that say I care about you, right? Because hot and heavy is great, but I think also we start to value that the other part that says, what are the things that you're doing that say, I really care about you no matter what, right? Because for better or for worse, sickness and in health, right? In sickness, sometimes that passion, that hot and heavy, is just can't be there. And that's facts. That's the truth. And that's the truth probably when we're getting married and we say those words that we don't think about. We're just thinking like we're in love, we're going to build this life together, but we don't realize that as we're building the life together, that the life together at some point, and I'm not talking about divorce, will come to this life does have, there is a finality in this life, let's just say. And so we will be building, we will be um, going over that hump together, right? And what's that going to look like? I think many of us don't talk about this. We don't talk about that. All right. So, next one is next person says one primal intense sex session from past few years. I had learned that an old study buddy from school had died by suicide. I came home and cried myself dry on him. He was mostly quiet, receptive, but a bit bewildered at how to help. Once I was done, I actually explicitly told him sex would be life affirming right now, and I need you to. Ooh. I need you. I need you. I'm not going to repeat what she said, but she said, I need you right now. And he rose to the occasion. Bravo. Bravo. Oh, I think I actually use those words. Sometimes guys need very specific words and no hinting. I'm going to try that. You try that. Let me know how it works for you. All right, next. Don't tell him I said that. Yes, for me, 61 female and my beloved 74 male. It was increasingly due to aging and menopause issues. I lost my libido 100% almost 8 years ago. He adapted and has never really pressured me into intimacy, especially when he saw me suffering in menopause, which I'm grateful for. HRT, see your doctors, ladies. See your doctors. I mean, yeah, see your doctors. Talk to your doctor about hormone replacement therapy, please, because it is not just about the sex. It's about everything. It is about the libido, right? And I don't think that the libido is exactly what it was when you were in your 20s, but it's there. But it's the other things, right? That decrease. There's women that say that when they're hitting perimenopause, they feel depressed and they don't know why. And something about your hormones shifting can lead to depression. And so when you're depressed, you don't have a libido. You don't you're 100%, like your mood switches, and that mood swing also causes a shift in your relationship, which HRT can be really useful in. And also, anyway, I've talked about this in my other menopause videos, but definitely HRT, HRT, HRT. And I know it's not for everyone. I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing you anything, but at least look into it, right? If you're suffering. All right. So, anyway, that's my little rant. He adapted and has never really pressured me, especially when he saw me suffering in menopause, which I'm grateful for. For we're close and still have cuddles and hugs and tease and see each other without clothes, etc. But we are no longer into intimacy like when we met. It's not this way for everyone, but as this subject content is showing, it's an issue for a growing number of couples. It is because I think too, even for men, for you men out there that are watching me, right? You all think it's just ladies that are having menopausal issues and you don't know, like, and have decreased libido, but men do too because the testosterone for men is a thing too. So with decreased libido, so I think they do have testosterone replacement for men. Just be careful because not if you have heart issues, you should probably not use testosterone replacement therapy. So check with your doctor. You know, always go to the doctor and depending on your health, so that you can be prescribed what you need, and so you can be properly prescribed based on your current personal medical condition. Okay, because I don't want anyone out there getting hurt either. And like I said, so see, this is the thing with as you age and you have illnesses, right? Even if there's some therapies or things like HRT or hormone replacement therapies that can help, you may not be a candidate, right? Based on your health condition. And so, for better or for worse, and in sickness and in health. That's what we said when we got married. All right. So, next, my marriage was devoid of sex for 10 years before my divorce. I had no desire, and my husband wasn't interested either. Many of my friends have reported that their marriages are less passionate than they used to be, especially as we reach our 50s. One friend mentioned that there is no intimacy or touch at all, and they live like roommates, even sleeping in separate rooms. All I know for sure is that once I was divorced, my desire came back with a vengeance. She makes a really good point. I think obviously the point that she's trying to make is that are you are you no longer attracted to each other? Is that why? Is that the problem? And if that's the case, is there something that could be done to fix it? I don't know, right? Because basically she's saying when she broke up with him, then it came back. So is it because that and it came back with a vengeance because now it's something new, right? Something new and shiny. Those first 2 years when you're with someone, they're always the most passionate. They're always the most passionate. That passion, and I think maybe we have like a false narrative in our mind based on what we see in movies that this passion is supposed to, that same passion that we have in the first 2 years is supposed to last forever. And I don't think that's the case. I don't believe that's the case. That passion dies down. You cannot, that passion that you had in the first 2 to 3 years of your relationship is not sustainable. If you kept that up, you would never accomplish anything else in your life because you'd be stuck in the bedroom. You would just be stuck in the bedroom all the time. So it's not sustainable. Eventually that does die down. It doesn't mean it has to go away, right? So when you're to the point where you're not touching each other at all, like there's no hugging, there's no coddling, there's no, then I mean that's a conversation. So I think those conversations need to be had for sure, right? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about that. What are your thoughts? Someone else says, not here. I mean, we've had our roller coaster years approaching. Oh, no, no. So that's back to the other comment. Sorry. Ah. Someone else says, your marriage is what you make it. I love this comment already. I haven't read it, so we're going to read it together. While I know it happens for some, a marriage where you're swinging from the chandeliers daily isn't the norm in the early stages where you're obsessed with each other and it's all sex and cuddling and romance in where wait a minute. In the early stages where you're obsessed with each other and it's all sex and cuddling and romance is the time we bond to each other. What did I just say? I haven't read this yet. Those of us that get lucky, that bond eventually becomes deep love and best friendship that can weather dry spells and can still feel close and intimate during those spells. Exactly. Like I don't think we're not meant to be hot and heavy. It's not sustainable. But those first few years give you the intimacy that you need so that there's that bond is there, right? And so once you bond, you build on that. And I so what I'm feeling, right, is that what I was feeling initially is that you're supposed to be friends. You're supposed to become best friends. It's like your best friend from school that you've known for 20 or 30 years. You know, you may know a lot of things about each other, and when you talk, like it's almost it's not as intimate as being with your partner, but it's very intimate, right? And the longer you know each other, the more intimate details maybe you know about each other, right? And you build on that friendship. You build on that. And so then she continues to say, that being said, if it's a deal breaker for you and you must have the relationship that is more focused on sex than other intimacy, then that's when you either make that your marriage or go to counseling if you can't get there or get a divorce. But see, I don't know. Like if you're getting divorced because you can't have like hot, you can't be hot and passionate every day and that's what you think because your mind's playing tricks on you if you think that you're going to do that every day. So you're going to be in a new relationship every 5 years, right? Because it's eventually going to die down. You're going to meet that next person. Like that other lady said, oh yeah, I got like hot and heavy again. Of course she met somebody new, and so she was in that bonding phase again for the first 2 or 3 years, and then eventually it dies down after you bond, and you do have to grow. You use that bond to grow in your intimacy. I'm not saying that the bedroom stuff goes away altogether, but sometimes it does depending on what's going on in your life. Either way, be realistic that your spouse will be the person by your side when loved ones die, if you get sick, weathering financial ups and downs, mental health struggles, and if you choose children, you'll be together in the trenches of that. Sexual compatibility is absolutely important in a marriage, but life will lead us all down roads where sex is the last thing on your mind. But having your best friend next to you is like the air keeping you going. I don't think I need to say anything else. I think this person said it all. And you know, some people want that passion, right? Um, Maybe you make dates where you're not on your phone, right? Like where it's like, okay, during we're going to dinner tonight and we're gonna stay off our phone. We're gonna talk to each other. We're gonna have a conversation. We're going, whatever. We're gonna just stare at each other. We're gonna get a glass of wine and we're gonna sit here and we're just gonna look at each other and we're gonna tell each other how much we love each other, right? And that type of intimacy is what will get you through the next 20 or 30 years. So, conversation is obviously necessary. And if you've spent the first 20 years, right? If you had kids early in your relationship at the beginning of your relationship and you spent the first 20 years raising kids and you didn't focus, you forgot to focus on your relationship, as the kids get older, people always think like, oh, when they get older, we'll get back to it. And then so many things happen after that. Like when you get to this next stage of life, you get to midlife, things are so different. They're not what they were when you were 20. So I would say it's important to keep the conversation going, even when you're busy in those early years, so that when you get to that point, that you are friends, you are growing together, you are on the same page about what you want for the next phase of life. You are still, um, even though maybe that physical passion is not there all the time, that there's still touch. There's still the I love yous, right? There's still the little things that say I care about you, because that will keep you going. And I love what you said. This is the person that's gonna be with you through the thick and through the thin. And um, we all have to decide what we want. You want hot and heavy, then you're gonna have a new hot and heavy every 5 years. And maybe, there's an outlier out there. You guys let me know. Maybe there's an outlier out there that spent 30 years of their marriage and it was all hot and heavy till the end. I don't know. But I would have to say I probably doubt it. And if it was, there were probably some breaks where things were not so hot and heavy. And, eventually your body says enough. We get older. We just have to admit that as we age, the same things we used to do. It's like heavy lifting. If you used to lift 150 pounds when you were 20, you're not going to expect to be doing that when you're 80. So we do have to be realistic and find other ways to show each other love, have the conversations, and you will decide with your partner what that looks like. But don't let the love fade away just because it's not there every night. It's not happening every night. And I know those movies tell you it's supposed to be there. They're lying to you. That's an illusion. That's not true. Anyhow, I've said enough. I'm going to drop this subreddit for you in the description box so you can check it out yourself and see what some others had to say. You might get some helpful tips depending on what you're going through and what your thoughts are. You can get, there's so much to read here because uh this is a conversation that just needs to be had, and needs to be had openly, because I don't know why. I don't know who told us that it was supposed to be hot and heavy from day one to the last days. And hot and heavy could be what you make it, right? Hot and heavy could be that joke that you make, that little tease that teasing each other with words in your 90s. That's hot and heavy. It is what you make it. Anyhow, thank you for joining me on You Can't Handle the Truth. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like and comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this topic and how you're dealing with this in midlife. And check out the subreddit to see just to get an idea. I'm not telling you to go looking for advice there. Go to therapy if you need to, but look and see how other couples are coping with this and how they're feeling about this, to help you out so that you know that you're not alone. All right? So, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.